When we talk about psychic abilities, what comes to mind first? Maybe it's fortune tellers or crystal balls, but actually it's much simpler than that. Psychic powers, at their core, are about perceiving information beyond your normal senses, beyond what you see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. You might call it intuition, and as we're exploring today, it's something we all have. It's not reserved for an elite group of people or mystical practices. It's yours too. Let's take a look at intuition for a moment. Have you ever thought about someone and then they call or text you out of the blue, like just as you were thinking of them? Or maybe you've had déjà vu, being somewhere new but feeling like you've been there before. These small experiences, they're not magic, but they also aren't entirely coincidence either. They're glimpses of how your intuition is quietly at work in the background. In my own life, I never planned to explore intuition or any psychic concepts. I actually started my career as an actuary, crunching numbers, calculating risks, and doing very logical work. But it was during my downtime, especially on bushwalks in the Australian wilderness, that I started noticing these gentle patterns. You know, maybe how animals reacted before a change in the weather, or the peculiar alignment of events in my own life. All things that seemed so subtle. And this got me thinking about the link between intuition and the world around us. What I realized is that intuition doesn't operate in isolation. It's tied to you, your mind, your body, and even your environment. It's there, quietly working, even if you're not fully aware of it. And most importantly, it's not based on reasoning or on just logical steps. It's based on something deeper, something, well, kind of organic. We sometimes think about intuition like it's guesswork, but it isn't. It's the brain working incredibly fast in the background, spotting patterns or signals that go unnoticed on the surface. And when we tune into that, it feels like we're opening up a hidden door to understanding, almost like seeing with a third eye, if you will. So, how does intuition actually work? Let's dive into the science for a moment. You might be surprised to learn that it's not all mystical or magical. It's actually deeply rooted in how our brain functions, constantly working behind the scenes. Studies have shown that areas of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, light up during intuitive decision-making. These regions play a huge role in processing emotions and recognizing patterns before we're even consciously aware of it. Think about those moments when you've made a split-second decision that just felt right, even if you couldn't explain why. That's your brain working quickly, analyzing subtle cues, whether it's body language, tone of voice, or even environmental signals. And it does all this without needing to, well, loudly announce its findings to your conscious mind. It's like having a secret detective working quietly in the background. What's even more fascinating is that sometimes slowing down to analyze things too much can actually hurt our decision-making. Research has shown that our first instinct, our intuitive choice, is often more accurate than when we deliberate for too long. I mean, isn't that just wild? It's as though overthinking clouds this deeper, quicker understanding that's already there. All right, let's get practical now. We've talked about what intuition is, and even the science behind it. But how do you actually use it to choose winning lottery numbers? How do you focus that inner knowing and channel it into something you can act on? Well, I've got a couple of techniques to share with you. First, we'll start with a number meditation. Sit quietly with your lottery sheet or a pen and paper. You'll want to have a number matrix representing the range for the lottery game you're going to enter. Familiarize yourself with the number ranges of the lottery you're going to enter. If you have the sheet in front of you, take a moment and start at the one in the top left corner and let your eyes rest briefly on each of the numbers from 1 to 2 to 3, all the way to the end of the row. Then allow your eyes to follow lightly, just a light touch on each of them. This is just a preliminary phase, but if you are feeling a strong feeling about any particular number, go ahead and mark that number now. Listen to the inner voice. Close your eyes again. The next exercise is the number waterfall visualization exercise. For this, all you need is a quiet moment. your lottery sheet if you have it, or a blank piece of paper where you've drawn blanks for the number of lottery numbers you need. Now close your eyes and imagine a cascade of numbers, dripping down like a waterfall in front of you. The key is to relax and just observe. If there's a number that seems to stick for longer than the others, jot it down. Don't second guess it, okay? Just go with what feels, well, a little sticky. Try this for a few minutes until the numbers stop flowing, or until you've written down as many as you think you need. Another one of my favorites is the air balloon technique. It's especially good for picking that last crucial number, like the Powerball or Mega Ball. Picture this. You're standing in an open field, and in the distance, there's a hot air balloon rising up. At first, it's too far away to read, but as it drifts closer, you start to see a number painted on it. Let it get as close as it needs to for you to clearly make out the number. Then open your eyes and write it down. It might sound a bit whimsical, but you'd be amazed at how effective these exercises can be when you fully engage with them. If you still haven't been able to visualize the win in numbers, it's time for the phantom quill exercise. On a blank piece of paper, write how many blanks you need. For Powerball, it will be 5 blanks for the regular numbers and 1 for the Powerball. In this lightning round, start with the number meditation and then fill in the blanks as fast as you can with the first numbers that come to your hand. Relax your hand with a pen or pencil over a piece of paper. Let your hand move freely without interference from any conscious thinking process. Review the numbers or patterns that appear. Dreams can also be a really powerful way for tapping into our connection to the universe. Before bed, do a quick number meditation, lightly resting your eyes on each number in the lottery matrix. This should be one of the last things to see before drifting off to sleep. Keep a notebook by the bed so that in the middle of the night or in the morning, record any numbers that appear in your dreams. After you start working with these exercises, you may find that you'll be ready for the universe to reveal patterns to you in other forms. Carl Jung identified synchronicity as finding meaningful coincidences or signs in everyday life. If a number is speaking to you, listen. As a word of caution, be aware of intrusive rational thoughts that try to contort the randomness into a false pattern. It seems logical, so it must be right? Don't fall for this. This does not mirror true randomness and will most definitely lead you to false numbers. It's a phenomenon known by behavioral scientists as apophenia. Equally spacing your choices in an attempt to force a pattern, for example, is just an illusion of randomness. You can visualize this with the coin tosses. If you tossed a coin 20 times, you might expect it to yield the following results. H, T, 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 T. But in reality, the randomness would yield clusters. T, 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 H, H, T, T, H, H, T, 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 H, H, T, T, that, T, 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 H, H, T, T, H, H. Regular meditation and mindfulness practices will help you channel this unique connection to the universe. I recommend keeping a journal to track successful predictions and trace back which techniques worked most efficiently for you. Over time, you'll start to see that you should be matching 1 to 3 numbers each draw. You don't need 50 lottery tickets. 1 or 2 will be enough if you are truly channeling your inner psychic. Your mind is more powerful than you think. Trust your intuition and see where it leads you. With some practice, you should be able to see between 1 to 3 numbers per drawing. You don't need to buy more than 2 lottery tickets a draw. Try this out and practice it. Write down the numbers and check it out. Are you more aligned with Powerball or Mega Ball? But you certainly don't have to spend a lot of money to practice. Get a blank piece of paper. Pull up the lottery numbers each draw and see how you are doing. How many numbers did you match? It doesn't cost anything to train like this for a few weeks before even starting with that 1 ticket. So give these a try. Play around with techniques like number waterfall or air balloon and just see what comes naturally to you. And don't forget to journal your findings. Those synchronicities can be golden. It's not about getting it perfect every time, but about building that connection with your inner sense. Honestly, the more you experiment, the more your intuition grows stronger and clearer. And that's all for today. Try these exercises and see if you can improve your lottery chances. Until next time, trust yourself, listen to those quiet feelings within, and see what the universe has in store for you. Bye for now.